Welcome back to the Gain of Fiction Lab. This is volume 15. I can't believe we're at volume 15. And you know who else can't believe it? The haters. They said he would never read 15 books. He'd never get to it. And here we are, not stopping anytime soon. And I have, now this isn't, neither of these read like a magazine, but I have two magazine editors here to talk about our subject today. And our subject, of course, is Herman Melville. It's we're doing Billy Budd and Bartleby. And let's start with our returning guest here. We've got Matthew Fresta, the editor of Rango Tango. I was just looking through my once again looking through my edition of Rango Tango magazine.
Oh, nice.
Excellent. So this is like a crazy. I've never seen a magazine that's like printed like this. You know what I mean? Like it's like just the actual like paper, like the pamphlet style magazine. Very cool because it sticks out like a sore thumb. So what? Yeah. I'm glad you said zine. I've never heard that term till neither of you have said it on multiple things. Is that it's different than a magazine? I thought it was just like frat bro type, like just kind of just for pizza,
Well, yeah, Ryan has a magazine,
whereas
I write a magazine.
I see.
It's not
magazine.
But no, zine is like just like a DIY magazine. Like you can do it yourself with like a Xerox machine. You just like fold paper in half. Like it becomes a magazine when it's like glossy. And I mean, there's probably like gray areas where someone printed their zine on like glossier paper or something like that. But yeah, zines generally you just try to keep the like production costs down, and it's like black and white generally. And yeah, and then so a magazine's actually like properly glossy and bound, spine, and all of that kind of stuff.
Interesting. So let everyone know where they can find it.
Because
there was definitely a it's Australian, so it's tougher to find. Some people will say it doesn't exist because it's Australia, but I exist. I have a copy. It exists.
You can get it from my website, cowardpunchrecords.com.au. But you can also, if you find my Twitter or Instagram, you can just message me. I make it pretty cheap. Like I got the postage calculator like coded really good, so it'll kind of give you like pretty cheap postage and stuff, and you don't need like an account on my site to buy anything. You just need a PayPal account. So I made it all super easy to use. But again, you can just DM me if you want to trade or whatever too. That's cool. So yeah, just get in contact somehow. And
what would you accept as a trade?
Records, or maybe if someone else has got a zine, I'd trade with them or whatever.
Yeah, would go.
I was gonna say, be careful what you sign up for. Yeah, somebody's gonna send you like a severed hand.
Maybe if they've got like some sick reishi or something I haven't tried, I can trade for
that. A severed hand. Yeah.
Can I have or something?
Can I have Rango Tango now, please? For this.
I'm gonna need to send you 75 issues.
No, I highly recommend the magazine, of course. And joining the RC Industries, the intermedia company, for the first time, somebody I felt like you've been on the show before. You haven't, and it's Ryan Simone.
That's correct.
He's not Paul Simon. It's not like Paul Simon. It's
right. Yeah.
Ryan Simone. Nor do you look like Paul Simon. Editor of American Vulgaria. I thought one of the coolest things I had ever seen was Kelby and David from Agitator in PS2 graphics like that. Yeah. And I understand you've said it on other platforms. That was quite an arduous task.
Arduous because I'm just kind of a retard at it. And once I finally figured it out and which software to use, it came easy. But that was just me struggling against my own retardation. I'm figuring that one. But yeah, that was a fun one. Agitator as Max Payne 2 or Max Payne characters. Issue 2, yeah.
It's so sick. I mean, it's just I love when people just lean into when I got onto dissident Twitter spheres, I learned about a lot of things that I never would have known about, good and bad. But when it finally circles back to shit that I thought was cool, that people because there's some people that didn't really have that, especially the Zoomer eras. They don't know what Max Payne is or anything that. But I love when my era gets highlighted of my burnout days of playing Max Payne on PS2's greatest hits on a dusty frat house PS2. Absolutely. On that big TV, the big TV that 18 people have to move in to the house, the frat house. Right. That's where we're at there. But your magazine is gonna say it's a little perverted, Ryan.
It is.
Talk about that.
Once I committed to the perverted bit, that's when it like became fun and unlocked for me. I mean, I started AV. I've said this before, but I bought the LLC in 2017, not really knowing what to do with it, and just like in response to the rise of Trump and fake news media, and having the ambitions of like being a writer and like wanting to work in media, and then realizing that that's there's not much any place to go with that, you know, in the fake news media landscape. So I kind of just like put my flag in, you know, somewhere, start my own thing and figure out do something with it eventually until like lockdown. I committed to going to print, you know, did an interview with Adam Ware, Aaron Fagan, the poet, and then just went to the print, you know, magazine. And then as I was working on it, yeah, I had like some 70s porn up on like my dual monitor and just figured it'd be fun to like interject all that shit in. And like more and more it's becoming just more of just a straight up smut mag. With just these fun interviews spliced in. I mean, it's podcasting's where it's at. Matt and I were talking about this before, that like doing these interviews, you can just record it and post it. So like, where does the written word interview even like fit in anywhere? You know, so
and now AI can just write it anyway.
Yeah, I can just do it anyway. So
yeah, I can do the porn too.
That's right. Yeah, that's dude. That's what I want to do is like gain some power and start having that kind of leverage. I can just force everyone to go nude in my mag.
So I have a new idea for how you can put agitator in your next issue. Is AI?
Yeah,
and perhaps same-sex porn. I mean, maybe they'll do it for real. I don't know.
Just deep fake everyone. That's the next move for sure.
They might do it for real. I don't know. I'm not gonna say it, but you could easily just deep fake. You'd be like, it's just a new agitator for every part of your mag. It's like Spy versus Spy.
Yeah, that's right.
A new thing that you do every time. So that's sick. And where can everybody find that?
That's American Vulgaria with a V. .com. It's nice with this last issue. I finally broke the Google rank. So before, when you search American Bulgaria, it'd bring up like the American Embassy in Bulgaria.
Wow.
So
I was like, did you mean American Bulgaria?
Yeah.
Is that what comes up kind of thing?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I broke the ranks there. So yeah, AmericanBulgaria.com. Got the magazines up there. I'm moving towards getting some clothing and all that, but
nice.
Yeah,
sick.
I think that we all have a responsibility to kind of, because there is a lot, like people actually make really cool stuff too, like the writers, you know what I mean? There's people that make music and stuff, and it's all like good. I don't have to lie about it because I was in a local music scene. I had to lie a lot one time. Like it's definitely happened. Like I understand, but there's like people like Kelby writes great books, David writes great books, like all these people. Like Brad Kelly, that's why on YouTube I'm trying to do, you know, like an unread gems kind of thing of just like while we cover the classics. Like I think that's our job. I think ultimately, as far as getting our opinions out, but like opinions, people kind of get tired of them from a while, and I have no desire to write ever. I can't. It doesn't come out. I don't have the. I mean, it's like I can't dunk a basketball. It doesn't matter what class I take. I can't dunk a basketball, and like somebody. So I find the people that can and people that are cool and people that I don't have to hide my politics from, and I want to signal boost them. And I think you guys all kind of do the same, right?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I look at my zine as kind of like an aggregator kind of thing, like grab all of like the things I found cool over the last few months or whatever and sort of stick them all in one place. And like, because, you know, there's like Letterboxd and Goodreads, but like who's reading all those reviews? And it's just infinite. Like it's not curated. You know what I mean? Like maybe you go to one guy's profile and he likes some cool movies or whatever. But like, yeah, I just try to sort of stick things in there, like whatever I came across in the last few months and even just older stuff that I found or whatever. Like, so yeah, I think that's what you got to do is kind of like, signal boost the cool things that are happening. And like, if you want to sort of nudge the scene or whatever you're a part of in the direction that's more like to your taste, it's like, why not? You know?
Yeah, you don't want to be in hater. You don't want to be in hater mode. I mean, it's fun sometimes. It's a switch. You know what I mean? It's like a guitar solo. Nobody likes a whole album of guitar solos. People are lying when they say that. But eventually, with a cleverly placed hater take is great. But for a lot of times, you got to send people in the right direction. You know, and that's kind of what these what these publications could do. And I'm glad you're adding like a physical media element to it, because I love physical media. I have a 1-bedroom apartment and I'm just playing Tetris constantly. I won't stop increasing the difficulty of that game whatsoever. I'm glad my wife's down with it too. She's we're almost competing with how much books and DVDs we can put in the house. We're going to get you right back to the episode, but I just wanted to let you guys know of a few other things we offer at Rare Candy Industries. We have a Substack with free and paid subscription options. Free subscribers get access to all written content. That includes Bob's Red Pill. That's the best thing going on the internet right now. Trust me. Paid subscribers get full access to our premium episode feed. And that's just every episode we don't necessarily want to share with the general public, if you know what I'm saying. Again, that's rarecandy.substack.com. We also have merch. That link's a little long for me to say right now, but go to the description, go to our merch store, and find a shirt that's right for you. We have Rare Candy shirts, Dr. Bronner soap label shirts, Rishi mushroom shirts, all types of stuff there. Check it out. There's got to be something for you. And lastly, check us out on social media. On Instagram, we're Rare Candy Pod, but on Twitter, we're at Rare Candy Pod 1. All right, enough of that. Let's get you back into the episode. So that brings us to books. Matt, I remember at the beginning of this program, of Gain of Fiction. Today's the 1-year anniversary of the Rare Candy Substack. Not to brag. Happy birthday. Yeah. But Gain of Fiction started shortly after that, and I remember Matt was like Billy Budd, and I was like, yeah, of course, because I remember the Sopranos clip. And that's going to be the intro of the episode. You guys already heard it. So, but everybody's heard it. It's one of Carmela's finest moments. And, but the book is crazy, because Melville was, I remember picking up Moby Dick one time when I was working at Borders Booksellers, and I was high out of my mind all the time, nighttime inventory, working overnight in like this outdoor mall. And Ryan spent some time in the South Bay area, so if you might have remembered Santana Row. Yeah. So that was the Borders I was at. And,
no way.
Dude. Yeah. And so there would be like drunk Persians asking to use the bathroom at night, like coming out of the Blowfish bar and stuff. And
I'm sure I was one of them at one point.
Yeah. You could, if you silk shirt, you're Persian. If you put a silk shirt on, there's not even. Yeah. And well, you and I have definitely crossed paths at some point. Like, there's no way we haven't been at the same bar or something like that, or something. But anyways, I remember seeing Moby Dick, and I was just like, I'm just gonna read that because why not? And I opened it up 2 pages, and I was like, not ready for this, and I just put it back down. And I think I read Water for Elephants instead. Not my finest moment, but and so but it's fun circling back to this. I'm glad that I came back to Melville in my 30s. I think that's seems like a more appropriate time for sub 150 IQ people like me to circle back to. But Matt, I'd love to know this. You say this is your favorite book.
Well, like when you pick a favorite, it's always kind of like arbitrary intellectual exercise where you got to like line up all these columns and be like, well, this. So I mean, my favorite book might be like just like Atlas Shrugged or something like that. But like this book, I like a lot. For many reasons, like it's short, but then it's very just dense and rich, and there's like so much to chew on. Like you can't just punch through it in 2 days. Well, you could, but I mean, you wouldn't. No, you'd be skimming a lot, and like not because it's just archaic enough to be like a challenging read, and sometimes you have to read like paragraphs over and over again before you like even know what the fuck you're saying. Dude. But and there's probably still paragraphs I just don't know what that is. Just move on to the next one. The story still flows like you still can get what's going on, and then it just has certain like very moving scenes in it that like this is the second time I read it and I still felt kind of just as moved by them. And I kind of just like things that just are just doomed from the get-go too. Like I like Lovecraft for that reason. Like I used to not like that when I was younger. I used to always hate when movies had like bummer endings or whatever, but now I've come to actually quite like that. So yeah, it's like I said, it's an arbitrary choice to pick a favorite novel. Why not this one?
Yeah, definitely. And Ryan, what's your history with Melville?
I mean, I did. I studied English for my undergrad, and my my like final senior seminar course was on Moby Dick. So that was fun. I mean, we had a whole seminar dedicated to just Melville. We didn't read Billy Budd though. We read Moby Dick, Bartleby, and was it Benito Serrano?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That one, I want to return to that one because it's boring as hell, and it's the first story I read where it's like boredom is used as like an artistic decision.
Mm-hmm.
That's how it's like proposed, that like John
Mm-hmm.
Gilman thing. Yeah, so that was fun. I mean, we spent a full course on Moby Dick, and I loved it. It's nice to like something of like that size to like just dedicate a whole academic course to it. And I read it once since then too, but yeah, Billy Budd has been a to do since. I mean, seeing people like call it like his second masterpiece, and it sounds like it's like revered as like his masterpiece before Moby Dick was formally recognized.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Excellent. Yeah. You guys are so right about it's kind of humbling reading it. It's a humbling thing because I've been kind of zipping through the catalog. I mean, there's been challenges. Brothers Karamazov is a challenge, but I loved it. I thought it was just, it stays in my head all the time. I think Dostoevsky, I speak his language even when I don't understand him because he writes the way I speak. We kind of play around the beat a little bit, kind of don't take the shortest path between 2 points ever. So I get that. But Melville just straight up just throws like cinder blocks of like words at you that you're like, I'm sorry. Like when you read that, like, yeah, right. I don't know what the word means. You know what I mean? Like it's that's the thing. Cause like I can understand if it's like, oh, I've never heard that phrased that way. Like, cause I will be calling back to Dostoevsky a lot because I think they're similar. I think people have similar takes on both of them. There's people, you either hate them or love them. But with Melville, I mean, it is cool because like Dostoevsky, you will be lost for a paragraph and then you'll have that one thing that makes it all make sense. It'll literally be one sentence that just goes, you're like, oh, okay. And then you get on and then you're lost again after to the next paragraph. But it's fun. I mean, there was a time where I was reading it for like an hour and my wife was reading this like fantasy novel series that she's just tearing through, like going like, 40, 50 pages in a sit down. And I'm sitting there like 4 pages in like an hour. You know what I mean? Just like, and it's humbling. Like, and I think in this era of like, no matter how based and red pilled you are, you still want to like move through things fast, and you don't want to like say that you had a hard time with something. But I had a hard time with this. That being said, I actually really enjoyed the story. I actually really enjoyed it, and it does stick with you. It's I mean, to me, it reads like a workplace drama, like just a real like workplace drama. I mean, like you take the ship aspect of it is great because it's so removed from the rest of society, and you get to see how it becomes its own society with its own laws while still trying to like have the landsman laws kind of that logic being applied, and it doesn't exactly work, so that part of it's fun. But let's start with the first couple pages. It's gay from the get-go. It's extremely homosexual from the get-go, and that's what you're taught if you've never read Billy Budd. Anytime you bring it up to anybody who's like even just heard about it, they go, is that gay? And they may pejorative or like it's queered. Melville's queer. Like you'll hear about it from there and there. So there are rumors that Melville actually is gay or bisexual or just a sailor. And because my grandpa was in the Navy, and like World War II in the Navy. And I remember like my mom kind of like being edgy, and it's her in-law, and like just going like, so did you ever like see any like homosexual activity? And he's like, come on. He just looked at her. And that was the answer. Like what? Not no. But just like it's a boat. Absolutely. Just like jail, just like Lil Boosie in jail, you know what I mean? Like it's very similar. But the first like few pages are just about how hot Billy Budd is. Yeah. And this is Melville's last, if I have that correct, it's his last thing before he died. Right? What a way to write your gay novel, right when you're about to die, by the way. No shit. That he's not beating the allegations there when it's your last one. But it's Billy Budd is naked statue of Adam, just all the like, just nobody could take their eyes off him, gleaming, the way the light hits him, how tan he is. he's like almost a different race because he's so good looking, like, which I found kind of weird.
Yeah.
For him to say that, but I get it. You're out in the sun all day. Like, I don't have the cover of like the hot Nick Nolte Billy Bud that you always see on the other one. Yeah, you do.
Oh,
you have the
go.
Nick. You have like the Nick Nolte. The Nick. He doesn't look that in shape there though. That's the thing. Like, he kind of looks like Philip Seymour Hoffman. Yeah,
he's a bit beefy. Like, yeah, he's like a beefcake kind of.
Again, not beating the allegations. Yeah, he's got a mustache and he's beefy. And but the. Yeah, because like Brad, like if a straight guy wrote the hot Billy Bud novel, it'd be like Brad Pitt Fight Club. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like it would be
absolutely.
like, yeah, man, this guy's just like washboard, dude. Like, yeah, he's just. But my intro of Billy Bud, it's Billy Bud. It has Bartleby in it and everything, and it has it's the intro is written by Joyce Carol Oates on it, which is kind of.
Oh, did you read that?
I did. Yeah, she was cool,
I
man.
didn't get to that. Yeah.
Yeah, I read it. I mean, it's like nothing that crazy, but like
Sure.
it was just cool that she did it. You know, I just thought,
absolutely.
she's kind of getting, she is a libtard, but people are like really like kind of throwing the baby out with the bathwater on her. I haven't read her yet, but I know she has sick shit.
Yeah.
So I have
Old
zombie.
school
Yeah, Stephen King, same thing. It's just Stephen King.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, I'll say whatever you will about what they put on the internet, but like, I'm not gonna play their game of trashing their stuff because.
But it's the same as like projecting your morals onto like Christopher Columbus or whatever.
True.
Hundreds of years later, it's like, yeah, it's the '60s where it was a different time. Like,
right.
It was a different time. Christopher Columbus. I like that. I like that a lot, actually.
Yeah.
I'm gonna use that a lot now when
Yeah,
people
yeah,
start
go
talking about stolen land and colonialism. I'm just gonna say it was a different time. Like it was Mad Men or something. Like, but the no, it's tough at first because you're just like, what is happening? But he's plucked from. Billy is the star of this ship, but the British Navy ship, and again, correct me if I'm wrong, guys. I'm not solidified in what actually is happening with the nuts and bolts of the story, but the British Royal Navy's trying to recruit from like this one ship, but they only take one guy. They're like, that's it. I only need him. There's also a biblical element to this. I think there's a very like Christ-like thing going on with Billy Bud, which I think if you were scared for this to be a gay novel, you definitely could spin it to be biblical, which I don't know about. Yeah,
absolutely.
Multiple layers of interpretation. And it might be like an example of like crypto transgression or something. Like it presents as like this biblical thing, and especially if people of those times would probably be like very quick to like, oh yeah, that's the thing, but then it has this like homoerotic layer to it, and possibly other layers as well. Like, so yeah, I think
that's the same. Like Moby Dick's the same, where it's like, I think the two books he read before like Moby Dick was the Bible and Ovid's Metamorphosis, where I mean the entire story of like Moby Dick is like working on like 7 different like layers of allegories, you know, of like Christ and however many different metamorphosis stories. Same with this. I mean, there's the Christ thing, there's the gay unrequited love angle and whatever, and then the whole like Enlightenment, sort of like the end of Christianity and the rise of this sort of like new secular revolutionary spirit, you know, the mutiny stuff happening, sort of like new legal order.
Totally.
Yeah,
that there's a lot of like in the same way Dostoevsky will be writing about the change from like science taking over, you know, a more so religious kind of theistic government. And in the same way, I felt the same way, that maybe it was just like the way the military or the way just sea life was, because Melville had a history at sea, and he was in prison as well, right? For a while, like wasn't he in like
taken captive on an island
in Tahiti,
or something?
in Tahiti
with the cannibals.
Australian whale ship. What do you have to say about that, Matt? That they took him captive to Tahiti. What happened? You want to apologize? Was it a different time?
It's a different time.
Different time.
We acknowledge the traditional owners of the ship and all of that.
Exactly. Yeah, Melville. What did Melville say something to upset them? Do you think that maybe that happened?
He probably asked to touch their hair or something.
Yeah, something like that, right? But yeah, he was taken captive. So Melville, again, not really beating the allegations. Prison and a ship.
Oh yeah.